So it's so lovely to be which is being, being, being itself, which is the being of love, the being of our magical, wondrous wholeness. Being of awareness, of consciousness. The wondrous wonder of awareness that there is a knowingness that I know I am, so amazing. That there is knowing is so amazing. I remember the first time I was in a car years ago, before cars were so popular and I was not here in the States. Just this feeling of being somehow carried or floating as the scene was passing by my eyes. It was so amazing. Magical, like the magic carpet. That magic is still there for us. That wonder, the wonder of presence. The sun shining on your skin. Sensation of warmth. The wonder of breath. the wonder of being with a friend, or a family, or being at the grocery store. Walking past people at the store. A fresh moment, creation, the wonder of perception and sensation, awareness, in this moment and every moment. The sound of the birds, the buzz of a fly, such beauty, effortless. Such abundance. Here we are together, this undivided awareness, indivisible. We are the ocean. The love, the beauty, the creativity. Body minds appear to us. The world appears to us. Sounds, perceptions, sensations, thoughts. We look up at the night sky and such vastness, infinite stars and galaxies. can we meet ourselves and each other, meet the world, meet the body, whichever way it presents itself, without any conditions. Freshly, without starting from an assumption, assumption of limitation, the assumption of separation. Is to be not knowing, the spaciousness of not knowing. It's availability, which is not a personal availability, because there is no person there. It's the availability of the wide open sky, which we are. The availability of hopping from branch to branch as a bird. The availability of the branch to be there as the bird is looking for a place to land. The availability to be surprised, maybe amazed, without judgment. And the availability to recognize the unhappiness of judgment. Whether it's judging oneself or the other. The availability to recognize causeless happiness. Which is revealed to us when we let go of our images of ourselves and our images of others, our notions and ideas about our family, about our society, about right and wrong. To meet each situation without any a priori, without any preconditions, to be discovering in the moment ourself and the other and the body and the world as one. The destination is not apart from your very being. The happiness that we all love is not hidden. It's not apart from our very being. There is no separate self in the entire universe. You are the universe. Your mind is the mind of the universe. Your body is the body of the universe. It's one universe, one body, one mind, one reality. In your night dream, there may be many characters appearing, interacting. They seem to be separate, each with their own personal mind, their own personal experience. In fact, they are your very dream, your very mind, your creation, and their minds is your mind. we are children in the same garden. And we are the garden and the play. Since you wonder, so if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please go ahead. Hello, Holger.
Hello, Magdi. Something strange, and I don't know, I didn't think about it before, but it feels okay to speak about it. It's about my relationship with my so-called mother. I haven't seen her since years. What did I just say? I haven't seen her since 10 years.
Yeah.
Besides briefly, short time, maybe 2 years ago, but not speaking or not in a friendly manner. And she lives only maybe half an hour away from where I live. I mean, it's kind of weird, the whole thing, because I had a very good relationship with her in a way, from my perspective. And some days ago, I had this feeling, what would happen if I would meet her now? And then I just realized I still would feel the same. I just would be myself. It would just be a story that would play out differently in my mind, but nothing would change. And I just don't know why I even mention it, but it's just interesting because like family kind of feels very dear, but again, just body, mind, I mean, it's not something I maybe just have to outgrow and to...
You don't know.
Yes.
You don't know what it would be like to meet your mother tomorrow or next week. You don't know. So there may be, it's just the volume here. Okay. So the thought that something would be the same or that it would be the same, there is no sameness. Same twins are not the same. When you look at an atom or a, you come with the microscope, you look really closely at the atom, it's not this, it's moving. It's not, you can't pin it and say, that's how it is. See, when you look at the universe, you take a snapshot of the universe and say, well, that's how it is. But then the next snapshot, it's different. It's traveling at God knows what speed it is. So that's more true. That's more true than the thought that says something is going to be the same. In fact, the body that we call Holger or Megdi is never the same from second to second, from moment to moment, from day to day, from week to week, from decade to decade. The mind, the thoughts, the sensations, the memories, the creative thoughts that arise, the psychological thoughts that arise, they're never the same. So it's more true, more factual to understand that rather than meeting my mother will be the same, or something will be the same, or I will be the same, or we will be the same, you see. So from that understanding, if you really are clear that, in fact, that's more true than not, that's how what your experience is actually telling you, then you are open to, you are the dance more than you are the dance, and you don't know. And so we can meet each other like we're meeting each other now as that, not as I have an image of Holger, and Holger has an image of Megdi, and I have an image of my mom and you, my dad, etc. So maybe we start, in our spiritual journey as being self-defined, in a certain way. And of course, we define others and the world in a certain way. But the more we contemplate our experience, the more we find that it's not defined by thought or by feelings. Thoughts and feelings are constantly changing and shifting and dancing, and the reality of thoughts and feelings is our reality. It's the same reality, and our reality is consciousness, awareness. So then we can meet each other as that reality, which is one reality. So in this one reality, we're never meeting each other because we're never separate. So meeting each other as that one reality is more of a recognition and understanding that in fact we're never apart. and the other is not different from my very self or as that one reality. So yes, in the forest there are different trees of different shapes, but they are this one forest. They share the same root, the same, sunshine, the same rainfall, the same nutrient, the same interconnected root system. Even on the same tree, there are so many different branches, and on every branch there are so many different twigs and fruits and flowers and leaves. But the understanding and the fact is there, it's one. And so that fruit on that particular branch is connected to the fruit on another branch. It's connected to the leaf, and it's connected to the next tree via the totality, via the wholeness, via the ground, via the air, via the sunshine, via the reality, which is consciousness. So in this understanding, it deconstructs the past or fixed images. It deconstructs, it shows that whatever experiences we had with our parents, with our family, with our friends, were part of our journey that bring us to the understanding. They were somehow instrumental in our journey to come to the understanding that, oh, wow, we are this oneness, this totality, this transparency, this awareness. And at a different level, we do have particular interactions. I don't know your mom, you don't know my mom, so these particular interactions. And these interactions, can be interactions of love, of invitation to the understanding, invitation to the love, invitation to the celebration, invitation to the sweetness. But that can only arise from your understanding. Your understanding about the true nature of love, the true nature of sweetness, the true nature of happiness, the true nature of consciousness. And that guides you, that provides you new guidance in your relationship with your mom and your relationship with yourself and everything.
Yeah, I still have this feeling there's an image about myself floating in myself. Yes. Like a ghost in a way, like
the image about yourself is not
a problem.
Yourself. The image about yourself, caricature about yourself, or the caricature about the self, which we refer to as myself. Any caricature about myself is not the self. For example, right now, you are looking at this face, right? This face is a caricature of the self, but it's not the self. You can have, maybe you're rather than seeing this face, you may see an image. You say, that's Megdi, or that's my mom, or that's myself. Same thing, but myself, or it's Johnny, or it's Betty, or it's Abdullah, who it doesn't matter. It's still an image. You see, it's a caricature of the self. But it's not the self, because the self is that which perceives. The self is the reality of I. I, that's what we refer to as the self, is I. So yes, there are infinite caricatures about the self. That's fine. An image about yourself is fine. But it's not yourself. It is a caricature of the self. Like, a leaf on the tree. It represents a tree, is an aspect of the tree, but it's not the tree. A tree in the forest is an aspect of the forest, but it's not the forest. So the key thing is not to mistake yourself to be this image. You are, this image is just an aspect of yourself in that moment. In that moment, this image in that moment, and then it's like burned, it's gone as something else. You see, it's not fixed. It's not fixed. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is fixed. Nothing. You take a piece of granite, after 20 million years, I don't know, 25 billion years, I don't know. This granite is no longer granite. I don't know what it would be, Nothing is fixed. There's only one reality. And it's not objective, which is consciousness. So if you want to use the term self in an absolute sense, not in the relative sense, then it is consciousness. That which perceives. The I that is the I that I am. When you say I am, that is the absolute I.
But so fascinating how it can be disturbed seemingly. I mean, you have this wonderful, pristine awareness, and then just a picture floats by, and suddenly it gets sticky and heavy and dark, and it's just amazing. What a creative act.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the understanding is important. Like Francis used to talk about that kid that goes to the with his father, goes to the circus where they are cutting the lady in half. And every time he goes to the circus, that young boy, that young child, has a very strong emotion of fear and worry and concern. Until there is his father and explains to him and shows him, you see those mirrors, you see that how it's very, here she is, here she is, she's not, you see, but she's standing here, but the saw is coming 12 inches away from her. Then the son can see that with a totally different. The understanding is very important. The understanding what I refers to.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Holger. Any questions?
Magdi?
Shiva.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hang on. I think I have to go to the other end of the room. Oh, wait. Sorry. I realized I'm in bed. I just wanted to get this going. Hang on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I think it's better. Internet connection is not so good in the bedroom.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like you to, what's the English word? Expound a little bit more on the causeless happiness. And it's something which is very strongly present in this life now. And God knows it's it's not been the case forever, you know. It's a new kind of thing happening, it seems. I mean, or a rediscovery of something which was always there, but it wasn't seen. And maybe also related to my question of yesterday, what does it take? I mean, you know, for instance, when I hear Holger speak about his mother, and you know how conflictual my relationship has been with my mom for like decades. And it's now like the sweetest, loving spiritual connection I can possibly think about. It's amazing. And this transformation has taken place. And so have taken place many different transformations of very many different levels. So satsang and understanding, and satsang and more satsang and more satsang, and contemplation, and all the physical, I don't want to call it work, but whatever I've been carried to experience, to learn, the deep relaxation, the yoga. Now, I know that all of these things happened, and I know that all of these things were contribution to the state of causeless, experiencing causeless happiness, which seemingly I wasn't able to experience at earlier stages in my life. I mean, again, we're going into this whole linear thing, which I know doesn't exist, but still, do you want to talk a little bit about facilitating the state of causeless happiness, maybe? Would that be a good platform?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Can I turn off the video and lie back down in my bed? I'll be so much more comfortable. Thank you. Just need a little rest. Thanks.
So in terms of happiness, so happiness doesn't go hand in hand with self-concern, with self-worry, with fear, with living under the impression of personal problems. So you cannot be happy and unhappy at the same time. So in unhappiness, there is no, in happiness, there is no unhappiness. It is the absence of unhappiness. Unhappiness is at the core of it, the dynamics of protecting and preserving and maintaining what is valuable in our experience. And in our experience or our conditioning, what is valuable is me, I. So we are protecting I, preserving I, making sure that I is well and okay and safe. Now, I could also be not just I, but the expanded I, my family, my tribe, my society, my mother, whatever, my body. And it makes sense to protect what is important for you to protect. Like, for example, you put your perishables in the refrigerator, and because you know that if you leave them outside of the refrigerator after 2 days or a day, they go bad. And so it makes sense to preserve your car. You park your car on the side, on the park. You don't leave it in the middle of the street, because if you leave it in the middle of the street, it can get damaged by next car coming by and hitting it. You preserve your body. You keep your body at a certain temperature, you feed your body a certain nutrition. You take care of your house. So it makes sense to protect, preserve, and manage and have a certain care for what really matters. The unhappiness is because we are trying to protect and preserve and take good care of I, meaning consciousness. Because I is consciousness. But consciousness doesn't require any help. It doesn't require your attention, your preservation, your taking care of it, making sure that it survives. It doesn't require that, because consciousness is nominal, it's not phenomenal. So the reason why we are unhappy is because we have personalized consciousness. We have turned consciousness, which is nominal, infinite, which is awareness, which is borderless. We've personalized it, we've objectified it and personalized it. And as soon as we personalize awareness, we identify ourselves. We identify I, awareness. We have as a person. That is the process of personalizing awareness, is believing that you are the body-mind, that you are a person, that you are born, that you have a history with your mother, a history with your father, a history with the friends, a history with society, a history with culture. That is the root cause of suffering and unhappiness. Because for consciousness, there is no history. The history applies to the body-mind. It applies to the body, which we call Megdi, or which we call Shiva, or which whatever name mom and dad, they gave to that body. We are not the body. We are not the body-mind. We are consciousness. So the unhappiness is on board and remains on board in our life as long as this identification, this misidentification is still operating. So the journey that you described, Shiva, of decades of inquiry and satsang and contemplation all what was unfolding in your life. Because you had an interest in happiness that became directed by an insight that you had in reality. You had an insight into the reality of consciousness. And that became more and more, it bloomed more and more in your life. And as this insight about the reality of consciousness and its universality becomes more and more available to us, it guides us into more satsang, into more contemplation, into inquiry, into looking at, well, why am I being judgmental? Is it possible for me to be in a different way in this relationship? It led you, and continues to lead you to all sorts of explorations. And every exploration that you do is dissolving more and more the habits and the reactions of separation within your body-mind. So causeless happiness is like the wide open sky. It is always there. The clouds, they veil the sky, but in fact, nothing really veils the sky. The sky is unveiled, it's there in its grandeur. But when you are looking at the clouds and you do not understand that the clouds are not an obstacle to the sky. They're actually just a phenomena appearing in the wide open sky, that the sky is everywhere. Once that understanding becomes and more available to you, both in your understanding and it starts to sort of live itself through you. It becomes more and more clear in your life, and you start to live, and you're living more and more with that understanding, as that understanding. Then you realize that you are the sky, that you've always been the sky. That causeless happiness is the sky itself, the freedom of being, the joy of being, the beauty, the love, which is all causeless. All of it is causeless. Is revealed to be your very being and your very experience. And it's not like a mind experience or a body experience. It can shine onto the mind. Happiness can shine onto the mind, can shine onto the body. But it's not sourced from the mind. It's not sourced from the body. So therefore, it's not a mind experience or a body experience. It's the reality of being. It is that which we are. And we may experience many moments and instances of the expression or the manifestation of causeless happiness in our life. You know, it can happen many, many times during the day, which is just the sense of awe that arises to you in your life. You know, you could be cooking a meal, you know, just busy cooking a meal and making sure the onions and the tomatoes, whatever and then somehow you glance out the window and you experience this beautiful, this marvelous joy of being just by, you see a bird flying by or just the color of the sky. Wow, you know, that's just an expression of the causeless happiness of being, which is more colorful. But that same happiness is there as you are dicing the vegetables, preparing the meal. Because at some point in the journey, the happiness that used to visit us on rare occasion, then more and more frequently, and then even more and more frequently, it stops visiting us. It builds its home in us, as a way of speaking, because in fact, it reveals itself to have always been there. In fact, happiness was never visiting us on occasion. It is that unhappiness was arising on occasion and was seemingly interrupting the causeless happiness. So, causeless happiness is the absence of unhappiness. And the more unhappiness is absent, the more happiness is revealed.
Thank you, Magdi. C'était très beau. I love the house building, the home building. Could you hear that? Very good. Thank you.
Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, George.
Hi there. I have a question. I think I have a question. I've been a seeker for a long time, and I've been striving to recognize the awareness that's already there. And my question is about that striving. Somehow I feel that the striving is in itself an impediment, in that the striving, I don't know, that's really my question. Is that striving an impediment, or is that striving actually coming from, I don't know whether that striving is coming from my sense of a separate self who wants things to be different, who wants to be happier, who wants to be, feeling I need to be perfect. Or is that striving coming from a natural drive of the self who I am? I guess that's my question. And then I guess that's my question.
Yeah. So the striving, it depends what is the direction of the striving. So if you're striving for personal wealth and personal health and personal fame, and you are striving in the direction of illusion, of thoughts and perceptions and mind. But if you are striving towards truth, towards happiness, towards love and beauty and harmony and understanding, then it's a different striving. So yes, there is a striving that is guided by ignorance, and there is a striving that is guided by God, by the light of being, by love, by truth. So when you are striving in the direction of truth, initially, it's a striving. It feels like striving, efforting. And because the direction of your efforting, of your striving is towards truth, then the path, you find along your path gems. You will find a gem, a ruby here, a pearl there.
Finding a Magni here, yes.
You find gems. And then you're striving sort of like a reward. You get the rewards and then you don't mind the striving. And before you know it, you love, you're more enjoying, and it's no longer striving as defined as such, It becomes more, yes, that interests me. I'm interested in that direction. I'm interested in contemplating, this understanding, this what I heard, I'm interested, you see. So the interest then arises from a different place than the striving. It arises more from love than from maybe a sense of despair or something like that, you see. So it's okay to be, quotes unquote, striving in the right direction. That striving will be transformed in time, in interest, and then in love and enjoyment. Like here we are, you've been attending satsang for quite a while now, and I always feel your love, your presence, and with friends that enjoy, your question, you enjoy people's questions, and this is, of course, a very small sliver of, but there's this sort of unfolding in the right direction, in the direction of friendship, in the direction of understanding, direction of love. There are a lot of insights that you had in at least that I was witness to, where there was an understanding within you, and this is also part of the direction that may start with the striving and goes less and less into the striving and more into the into an enjoyment, a celebration, a recognition, an interest, a passion. So, and it's different from body mind to body mind. It's whichever way it appears to you. For some people, they do. I remember years ago when I was in the Zen tradition, where there is very disciplined and very strict sort of Japanese style tradition. There were, I recall, some friends who were talking to me about how hard they are trying and how difficult it was, but they were determined. And over time, I know of a few or many, who ended up leaving that tradition and going, seemingly dropping all the spiritual journey or going to different directions. In my case, it was the same tradition, very militaristic and strict, but somehow for me, that's what I wanted to do. I was completely into it. So, It varies. The main thing to understand is that the belief in a personal self has no evidence to it. There's no evidence, and it's not substantiated by our experience. So the striver within the striving is a phantom in a way, you know. It may feel very real, meaning there are feelings. Feelings are just appearances. You cannot make any conclusion about anything based on your feelings. You cannot stand in front of a judge and say, Your Honor, I feel this and that and that. That's my defense. Okay, I mean, you know, after you drink a glass of champagne, or will you feel different? So it may feel, you know, that there is a striver. But when you look at your experience, it's always in this moment you look, what would be the striver outside of a thought, an image, a sensation, a feeling? And there are a dime a dozen. So to understand that, in fact, there's a lot of falsehood in the mind. And the core falsehood is there is a separate self, which will in time attain something, you know. And there is nothing to attain. I mean, maybe you've heard some teachers say this way, there is nothing to attain. But you have to come to that comprehension, and that comprehension is the comprehension about reality, about what is your reality, what is your experience. If there is any reality, you must know it, or you must be it, or you must have some kind of connection with it. You could not be some element or some creation of non-reality. It's not possible that you know there is a reality, but you are the non-reality. It makes no sense, you see. So right. It's contemplation of reality. The reality that how do I know it? What is it in my experience? And I invite you, and I've invited you many times, I invite everybody to contemplate that the reality of our experience. We know it as I, and we are it as I. We are this reality. And this reality is not made out of, made out of different slices, like the orange is made out of different slices. It's one reality. It's all the orange. All of it is the orange. It includes perceptions, sensations, thoughts, whatever. It includes the mind, includes the world, includes galaxies. One reality. So it's an infinite orange.
That's orange. Infinite orange. Yeah, I like that. Okay. I'll see how much orange juice I can get from that. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Meg. I really do appreciate all of our interactions. Thank you.
George, me too. Thank you. Infinite orange. So there are some teachers, so-called teachers, who speak of there's nothing to attain, there's nothing to realize, and that's it, that's their teaching. No, that's not true. It's true that there is nothing to attain and nothing to realize, but at the same time, it's true that there is something to realize and something to comprehend, and there is a path to that which we are. I know it sounds a little weird, the path to that which we are, but yes, there is a path to that which we are. And the direct path is, if possible for you, is the best path, the shortest path, the quickest path. In the end, all path takes you to the same destination, which is that which you are. Not what you appear to be, or not what you feel you are. Okay, well, very beautiful and lovely to be with you all. George and Rosa. Hello, Rosa. Hola, Rosa. Bienvenido. Nice to meet you. Holger. Hello, Zoe. Hi, Zoe. Holly. Hi, Holly. Esther. Peter. Hey, Peter. Frank. Gisela. Hello, Gisela.
Hi, Martin.
Yeah. And John. Hello, John. Shiva.
Merci, Magdi.
Merci. And Emmanuel. Mucho gusto. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Magdi.
Meg.
Thank you, Maggie.